Did you know you're only allowed 50 rounds per year? Not 51, not 52, only 50. The CEO of FLA goes into details. Yeah, man, very informative. So, this is a four-part series. Part 1 is already up. This is part number 2. Look out for part 3 and 4. Wagwan, wagwan. Welcome or welcome back. And if you like this video, we'd love it if you give us a like and a subscribe. No more talking. Let's jump right into the video.
Release the clip after.
Yes.
Then them old time head so real bad man, pow! One squeeze it.
Yeah.
The misuse of the gun. A guy, criminal network, him have about 4 rifle, 4 long gun, and then him have a 9mm team head and
Yes.
them a chart the badness. Then him come so, boom, clear the breach. One fly out.
Right.
One fly out. Then after him do that, him come so I release the magazine.
Right.
Don't understand our semi-automatic gun works. You clear one out of the head, but the magazine is still there. It is going to select one up in the chamber. So him not understand about gun. Comes up, bam bam. Clear one.
Yes.
It fly out. Then him release the clip after.
Yes.
Then him old time head so real bad man, pow! One squeeze him.
Yes.
And it was live on TikTok.
Well, you see, one of the greatest safety rules that the FLA encourage license holders to be aware of is always treat a firearm as if it is loaded.
Yes.
Always. Therefore, even when you clear the firearm or you believe it's fully cleared, you never point what we considered an empty firearm. You consider, because you may believe that there's no ammunition in the firearm, and therefore press on the trigger and you can cause your own life to be lost or life of others. Why? Because sometimes persons are using the firearm and they turn the barrel in their face and looking inside the barrel of the firearm.
I said it.
And
Kids love to do that.
and press the trigger. And when you're around children, also important to note that even though you believe your firearm is empty, or treat all firearm as if it is loaded at all time. Never point a firearm at anything unless you intend to destroy it, and always treat the firearm as being loaded.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Darling, you don't comment, but there are more questions coming in from new listeners and questions waiting for Mr. Darling. All right, before we go to the question, what we want to talk about today, sir?
Yes, well, what I would like to point out to some firearm license holders are the issue one of gun salutes. Many persons, during especially the festive season, Christmas, sometimes birthdays, funeral services, persons tend to say, let me fire some shots, or you go to a party and the selector pulls up a good music and you say, well, you have to salute the selector by firing some shots in the air. And what license holders don't know is what goes up comes down. But they believe it's just a saying. I want to explain something to all listeners today. That when a bullet goes up, after it reaches its full capacity, it comes down, but coming down, it is coming down at a speed of 61 meters per second because gravity is pulling it down. The only resistance that bullet has is the air that it's going through. But it's coming down at 61 meters per second. It only takes 47 meters per second to penetrate your skin.
Mr. Darling, that I only boss here, that not.
Well, let me repeat.
If it lick any vital organs.
Well, let me repeat.
For real?
Persons of gun salutes.
When it go up and lick them through the ceiling.
No.
When that come down?
No, when it goes up, the coming down, it is coming down at 61 meters per second. And to penetrate your skin, it is only required to be traveling at about 47 meters per second, and it's coming down at 61 meters per second.
Whoa.
At least 21 meters per second. So depending on the pressure of the air, it could be coming down faster, which means it could penetrate your skull.
But on a normal day, 61 meter per second.
Yes, 61 meter per second generally.
Right.
But it only takes 47 to penetrate you.
Boy.
So that is the danger.
Well, Mr. Daniel, you know you come from mash up people there, though. Because nobody never know them sitting there.
Well, information.
Them just say, bow, and you know, even be mindful, as you say, what goes up
must come down.
Jesus. To the extent where it can cause
serious as a result of gun salute in the past.
Serious, Mr. Daly?
Yes, we have. And we have revoked all licenses in such cases. And let me say to license holders, even if it's not your weapon that caused the death, if you are involved in the activity, your license too will be revoked. And just a key point, it is not the license for the firearm that you discharge that the FLA board will revoke. It's all licenses that you have, even if you have licenses for bird shooting only, in addition to your regular license. They will revoke the bird shooting. You won't be allowed to keep that.
Yeah, I'm going the same way.
That's correct.
I think a driver's license, you don't say.
No, it is the individual that is deemed not fit and proper, not the firearm. So once the individual is deemed not fit and proper, all firearm licenses are revoked.
Wow. Gun salute.
Yes.
Right.
And another point I want to raise.
We had a lot of bad incidents in December, though.
Yes, we do.
A Canadian young girl. A Canadian.
Right. And I want to say something about that. That we have now acquired technology at the FLA in terms of equipment, sophisticated equipment, to identify the bullet, the firearm from which the bullet came. So all licensed firearms are tested, and we retrieve the spent casing and the bullet. And so when the police finds a bullet, we are able to test in our machine to determine whether that bullet came from a licensed firearm. So anywhere after a festive season or anything that the police report gun salutes, and you do find a bullet in the yard, home, or so of a person,
the dance, the party.
Right, we can determine if it came from a licensed firearm, even if it injured no one. So we want to warn license holders to be very careful. The other point I want to raise, Berger, is the fact of concealment and stockpile. Concealment of the firearm. I want to advise that the concealment is not just because we wanted to put a rule in place to say you can't expose your firearm. It is for safety measures. You place yourself at risk of your firearm being taken when you expose your firearm to the world at large. Let me give you a situation. A lady once met a gentleman, and she went home with him, spent the night, and she said she got up to make him breakfast in bed. And so, having gone to make the breakfast, she came back and noted that he was gone. And she wondered, why would he have left, given that he knew that she was making breakfast? And so she called his phone, didn't get through to him. But she said she sat there puzzled as to why he would have left without telling her. And then she said, where is my firearm? Because she remembered putting the firearm under the pillow when she was going to bed tonight. And when she checked, the firearm was gone. She went to the police, reported it. Luckily, they found him. When they found him, they arrested him. And what was revealed later is that he said he knew she had a firearm, and he deliberately set upon her to get favorable with her because he wanted an engine for his car, and the persons who were giving him an engine wanted a gun for the payment. So he said he knew somebody with a gun and decided to befriend her and rob her to take her firearm.
All
so
right.
ask person to be careful.
I know you're not finished with the presentation, but I'm seeing sometimes the comments coming. I don't know if you want me to take them, doing all I can hold. Yeah.
I just want to make two more points, and then I'll take those. So also concealment is necessary because it gives you an advantage as a license holder.
Element of surprise.
The element of surprise.
Correct.
So if a person does not know that you have a firearm, you have an advantage to defend yourself better than when the person does. A misunderstanding that many persons have. They believe a firearm is a shield. A firearm is actually a sword. And let me explain that. Persons say to you that if I have my firearm on me, no one can do me anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm safe. That's only a shield. That's what a shield does. Protect you. Despite any attack that you may face, a shield will protect you. A firearm doesn't have that power. The firearm is a sword that gives you a fighting chance. So the element of surprise is always good for you when they don't know you have one, because you're able to defend yourself better. Because the person coming to you not knowing that you have one will be, I would say, carefree or careless in his approach. But if he knows, he may take you from behind because he knows you have one. And that, finally, persons know you have a firearm can also tell lies on you by reporting that you pulled a firearm on them, or threaten them with one when you didn't. But they can only do so if they know that you have a firearm. So you have to be careful.
The point that you make is a very important one, because you have some man who feels them a top shooter. The man straight.
Yes.
And there was an incident in Portmore some years ago with a licensed firearm holder, top shooter.
Yes.
Top shooter. And he was washing his car.
Yes.
And his gun probably exposed on his person.
Yes.
And a little man right past and seat bulge out.
Yes.
Go back, go for a murder the man.
Yes. I know.
And the man did not miss.
Yes. I know the case.
You know the case?
I know the case very well. I was actually on the scene of that years ago. I wasn't at the FLA at the time. I was in Portmore at the time when the incident happened.
You know about it?
Yes, I know. So the person was a sharpshooter, right?
See what I tell you?
He was actually a trainer.
All right.
A firearm expert and
All
firearm
right.
trainer. And it took only a person, as you said, riding a bicycle to see his firearm exposed. Never got a shot off. Which reinforces the point. The firearm is not a shield.
It's a sword.
It's a sword.
And it must be kept concealed.
Yes, concealed and private, because most times I'll say this, Mr. Berger, that license holders like to show everybody that I'm strapped. I'm armed. You meet a young lady and you want to impress upon her immediately. You're sure that you have a firearm, you can protect her. You can provide security. Be careful, because you don't know who you're dealing with. That very person may set you up to be robbed. So we have to be very careful about
them things are joking, sir.
No. And so it's very important. The next thing, stockpile. Persons are allowed to carry 50 rounds on their person. So this part is very important to explain to everyone. Because the license granted to a holder of a pistol says on the license 50 rounds only. But then persons are found sometimes with 100 rounds, and they say, but the FLA gives me every year the ability to purchase 50 rounds. So I purchased 50 last year, and I purchased 50 this year, and I'm purchasing 50 next year. The challenge you have with that is that the police will charge you for being in possession of excessive rounds, because your license only allows you to carry 50. Let me explain to persons the clearest example I can use. You are allowed to purchase 250 rounds over a 5-year period, 50 each year, because the license is valid for 5 years. But you are only
the license is valid for
5 years. That's correct.
5 years? Every year?
5 years, no. I'll explain.
Okay.
The license is valid for 5 years. So, but you're allowed to purchase every year, because every year you come in to do a new registration, and you're allowed to purchase 50 rounds. Okay? But you're only allowed to have 50 in your possession at any one time.
Right.
And let me explain this to everyone in layman terms.
Possession meaning on your person when you go on road, or
at home total in terms of home and on your person. 50. Let me explain to you in a very simple way. A man can marry as many times as he wants to, but he's only allowed to have one wife at a time. You're allowed to purchase 50 each year allowed, but you can't possess more than 50 in a year. So if you purchase 50 this year and you use none, next year, although you're allowed to purchase 50 more, you can't purchase because you already have the full allotment. If you use some out of the 50, you can replenish up to 50, but you can't go over 50.
But
I hope I make
Jesus,
myself clear.
Mr. Darling, nobody don't know them sitting here. I don't think any Jamaican know them something here.
I hope I've made it clear to persons. And finally, last point I want to make.
More some water. I think I get serious and more serious every week. I don't believe any firearm holder, licensed firearm holder, knows this. It's because I was talking to somebody the other day,
yes.
And especially I think somebody himself must ask because with now there's a shortage.
Yes.
Because when they go to the gunsmith or the gun shop to purchase, there's a limited amount of rounds and they're not getting the 50.
Right.
So I guess with that said, they're saying they have to stockpile because round short.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any what should I call it now? Is there any
urgency to purchase?
Not even urgency. Is there any compromise in that, seeing that there's a shortage? If one stockpile, but then forgo over the 50.
Well, they can't go over the 50. That's the reality. They just can't go over the 50, and there's no need to stockpile. We're not at war. And the truth be told, I say to all persons, the normal firearm carries about 15 to 17 rounds. Therefore, 50 will give you 3 magazines. If you ever find yourself in a confrontation that you have to use 3 magazines, you're at war.
Yes, sir.
So we're to be mindful. If persons require additional ammunition for training, they're allowed to purchase that ammunition through requisition or at a range to purchase and use at the range. And finally, Berger, I just want to say something. Many persons have a misunderstanding also that if I'm leaving the country and my friend had a license for a 9mm and I have one, that they are told that they are allowed to leave it with their friend because the friend or the brother or the cousin has a firearm, a 9mm also, so they can leave it with them. Many persons have that. That's not true. Your firearm is unique to you, and the license that is granted for that firearm is unique only to the individual. So when the license is issued, the serial number for the specific firearm that is on your possession is also issued to you on that license. Therefore, you can't leave your firearm with anyone else but the FLA or the police when you're traveling, unless the FLA authorizes any other arrangement. But you have to do that.
No, Mr. Shane, a man have a license gun.
Yes.
In front of a license gun.
Yes.
But in front of a safe as well.
Right.
He might go and beg him friend, lock it up in a field safe. Nothing can go.
No, we can't. It's illegal. The friend who has it...
The friend now walk up and down with it, you know.
Very good point.
It's still at the safe.
That's correct. But the friend who has it at home is in constructive possession. It's not actual possession of it, but constructive possession, although it's locked up in a safe because the friend can open the safe and go inside the safe and take the firearm. The firearm ought not to be left with anyone else other than the police or the FLA. The only other person you can leave it with is a person who has a license for your firearm. For example, you could get a license for your wife, your son, your brother, and you can leave it with them. But you can't leave it with another person only because that person has a firearm for a 9mm. Can't. And that's a misunderstanding. And many persons do it not realizing.
Mighty God. Can I take 2 questions? More water. Can I take 2 questions?
Yes, you can.
Yo, it's like the book is rewritten. Oh my word. Where should I start? Because the board's full. Here we go.
Check in. Bergerman. A question to Mr. Darling. There's a video circulating.
Hold on. I'll lock off this. Hold on. Here we go. Come again.
Check in. Bergerman. A question to Mr. Darling. There's a video circulating with a transport authority personnel who pulled this firearm and a civilian that they were confiscating his car. What do you say or what do you think about that? How would people proceed in that form, in that manner, with that incident, should say?
That matter is a matter before the police.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the incident or in terms of the case he's speaking. But let me speak generally on those matters. Not having all the facts in the situation that he just spoke of. The use of a firearm, as I explained last week, is one of proportionality. So a person pulling their firearm, his or her firearm, must do so to protect life and property. Protect life and property. And he must do so using the force that the attacker is using, the proportional force that the attacker is using to come at him. So if the person, as I explained before, is in close proximal location to you with a knife, and is attacking you, you can respond using deadly force. If the person is only boisterous and loud, you may not use deadly force because the person is being aggressive towards you, but that does not allow you to pull your firearm to shoot that person. So the pulling of the firearm to intimidate or to assault someone only because the person is aggressive will not meet the muster of use of force. But the circumstances, each circumstance will be judged on its own accord.
All right, let's take one from the phone. Yeah, good afternoon, caller.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah,
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Dear Mr. Darling, quick question though. Why is it the review panel has to take...
Sir, listen, you have to turn off your radio. You listen to the phone, you're listening to the radio. I have to cut you off. Turn off the radio, please.
Sorry about that.
All right, ready again.
Yeah, the review board. Why it takes up to 2 years for a response from the review panel?
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Well, I'll apologize to you about the delay in terms of the review board processes. There was a backlog, an extensive backlog in processing of appeals. That backlog has now cleared, so you should be seeing a very quick turnaround within 3-4 months turnaround process for appeals going forward.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. All right, 383-1166876, 383-11666. Here we go again.
Yeah, Mr. Dolly. Honestly, we appreciate you, man. All them knowledge, me I tell you, some of them I just record them because me as a person now, I try to get a firearm now. Honestly, I want to know all of them little stuff here. So honestly, Bergaman just continue the program. I don't stop it. Don't stop it at all. I tell them.
Burger, good evening. So the person where my gun, them him should have done nobody no know it make.
Afternoon, Burger One. No, man, this is news to me as I first me I know about this man. 50 rounds for the year. No, sir. Then FLA tell you this when you go buy the license, when you get the license and everything, them lead them give you a instruction book with this layout tonight. No man know of that.
Yes. When persons apply for a firearm license and the board grants the approval, the person is required to do training and competence. And you have to sit an exam that is supervised by the FLA before you can actually acquire the firearm. A part of the training is theoretical examination and information given to persons, and then the practical in terms of showing that you're competent in the use and management of the firearm. So the information is indeed provided to persons, but once the person get the firearm, all the information I think goes out. So we are doing a refresher to remind persons.
Bergerman, good afternoon. Your guest, Mr. Daly. It's state and the white paper where you do every year only 50 rounds. So you You only can carry 50 at a time, not 51, not 52. Anyhow them catch you with 51, 52, then we'll charge you.
Yeah, afternoon burger. Mr. Daly,
Additional ammunition for training.
if a person use bullet and have to come back to buy bullet, do they have to give account for the bullets that they used? So if a person have 50 this year and next year him come to replenish, say him use 12 out of, does he have to give account for those bullets?
Okay, good question. Because when the person uses their firearm, remember in all cases, you should report to the police, because for you to fire your firearm, you must be under some attack. So it is required that once you use force, deadly force, whether you kill someone or you had to defend yourself, naturally you'd file a report with the police that would take account of the incident. So when the FLA is investigating any case, one of the things we do is look at the total number of ammunition you have on you and ask to explain where the whereabouts of the others as a part of our accountability framework.
So good afternoon again. Yes. So don't you have to do a firearm permit class for you to get a license, a firearm license, right? So shouldn't that argument about the ammunition, the amount of ammunition, fall on in the class that you're supposed to take? And I would hope the answer is yes, because sometimes I see some of them firearm holder and the way them angle them firearm out on the street, like they lack training, lack training big time. So yeah, you have to take a class for you to be granted a license, right? That's the question.
The answer is yes, and I agree with you that the practice sometimes doesn't meet the training, and so we'll continue to reinforce these points with license holders.
Good evening, Mr. Shane Daly.
And as usual, thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts, your views, and your opinion. Be safe out there. On your way out, leave a small like, a small subscribe. I'm out.